After word of Theseus' escape reached King Minos, he was filled with fury. His anger reached new heights when he found out that his daughters, Ariadne and Phaedra, had also fled with the Athenian. The king, in his anger, looked for someone to blame. How was Theseus able to escape the labyrinth, he thought? Daedalus had told him no one could escape it, and only he knew the way out. Daedalus must be to blame, thought King Minos. He must have helped Theseus, or there was some mistake in his design. King Minos devised a way to punish Daedalus and his son Icarus too. He forbade the two from leaving Crete and ordered watch to be put on all the ports. The king declared that attempting to assist Daedalus and his son fleeing the island was to be punished by death. So it was that Daedalus and Icarus were held captive on Crete for many years. Daedalus dreamed of returning home to Athens with his son. King Minos, thought Daedalus, can block our escape by sea, but he does not control the air. The sky is still open. There lies our escape. Daedalus looked at the birds in the air and wondered how he and his son could fly like them. They needed wings somehow. Daedalus put his mind to work on how to fashion wings for himself and his son. Daedalus gathered as many feathers as he could find. He built frames out of wood in the shape of giant wings and began to layer feathers onto the frames with hot wax. After many weeks of hard work, Daedalus had successfully constructed 4 giant wings, a pair each for him and his son. Daedalus tested the wings by jumping off a hill. He flapped his wings as furiously as he could, and to his amazement, he flew through the air like a bird. Daedalus landed and fetched his son. He placed the wings on Icarus and planned their escape. As they stood on the cliff by the sea, Daedalus told Icarus not to fly too low, as the water of the sea would foul his wings, but also not to fly too high, as the heat of the sun would melt wax on the wings. Icarus promised to keep his father's commands. They both jumped off the cliff and flapped their wings and began to soar to their freedom. The wind blew through Icarus's hair. He found it all exhilarating. He found a flock of birds and followed them, zipping through the air. Joy filled his heart as he felt truly alive. Icarus forgot his father's instructions. Daedalus glanced behind him and saw his son soaring up towards the sun as he followed the birds. Daedalus's heart jumped out of his chest in fright for his son, and he called to Icarus to return to him. We do not know if Icarus did not hear his father or decided to ignore his commands. In any case, Icarus continued to follow the birds and flew closer and closer to the sun. Icarus began to notice the heat of the sun on his brow and began to sweat. As the sweat began to pour off him, Icarus suddenly remembered his father's warning and began to desperately change his course. It was too late. The feathers began to fall off Icarus's wings in big clumps as the wax melted and turned to liquid. Icarus desperately flapped his wings and called out to his father to help him. Suddenly, the remaining feathers fell off the wings like leaves falling from the tree in autumn. Icarus began to plunge to the ground, calling out to his father to save him. Daedalus looked on helplessly as his son fell to his death and bitterly cursed his invention as he saw his son hit the water. After a while, he saw Icarus's wings floating in the water. Daedalus wept bitter tears as his son's body failed to surface. Eventually, Icarus's body washed ashore on an island in the Aegean. The island was called Icaria, in memory of Daedalus's unfortunate boy who flew too close to the sun.